CFP semifinalist, mega rankings, top quarterback, skill position players, storyline, and more. Eric Smithling. The college football playoff semifinals kick off on Thursday with number 10 Miami and number 6 Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl, followed a day later by a Big Ten rematch between number 5 Oregon and number 1 Indiana in the Peach Bowl. Before the games begin, we stack the remaining teams, ranking them in various categories, including by quarterback, top skill position weapon, defensive line, secondary, and storyline. Quarterback rankings: Mendoza takes second. Fernando Mendoza, Indiana Hoosiers. In Indiana's 38-3 Rose Bowl romp over Alabama, Mendoza threw more touchdowns, 3, than incompletions, 2. He also had an 87.5% completion rate, his 5th game this season, completing at least 80% of his passes, tied with Ohio State's Julian Sayin for the most by a starting quarterback in the FBS this season. Trinidad Chambliss tops quarterback rankings. Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss Rebels, Turkex. It was a toss-up between Mendoza and Chambliss, but this 3-play sequence from the Sugar Bowl from the former Ferris State quarterback sealed the deal. Skill position rankings: Oregon and Miami. Miami wide receiver Malachi Toney. The outstanding freshman has 4 100-yard games this season, but has been held in check during the CFP, gaining just 38 yards on 10 receptions. The Hurricanes will have to do a better job of scheming plays to get Toney the ball in space, but he's also capable of exploding for a big gain on special teams, such as his 55-yard punt return against Texas A&M in the first round. Oregon running backs Jordan Davison, De'Aaron Hill Jr., and Noah Whittington. The Ducks' committee approach at running back has kept the trio fresh heading into Friday's rematch, although the three must have better results than against Texas Tech, when they combined for 86 yards on 33 carries. 2.6 yards per attempt. Ole Miss running back Kuen Lacey. Malachi Toney almost took it. Canes are in business. Ole Miss running back Kuen Lacey. Lacey has scored touchdowns in all but one game this season, including 8 in a row. He's been on a tear over his last 6 games since November 1st, ranking 3rd in FBS in rushing during that span, gaining 768 yards and averaging 5.9 yards per attempt. Indiana's elite wide receiver trio. Indiana wide receivers Charlie Becker, Omar Cooper Jr., and Elijah Sarrett. For as much credit as Mendoza rightfully receives for Indiana's incredible season, his trio at wideout is the best in the nation. Each has had their own highlight moment, none bigger than Cooper's sensational touchdown in the waning seconds at Penn State to keep the Hoosiers' undefeated season alive. Becker and Sarratt's key contributions. Becker is the team's best deep threat, and he has a remarkable catch radius, as shown on his 21-yard touchdown grab on 3rd and 8 against Alabama. Fernando Mendoza finds Charlie Becker, touchdown Hoosiers, pick.twitter.com, MQHFJDJ Sarrett might be Mendoza's most trusted target. He came up huge with touchdowns on 3rd down to give Indiana leads at Oregon and in the Big Ten title game against Ohio State. Defensive line rankings: Ole Miss and Oregon. Oregon. Tied with Ole Miss in sacks, Oregon's front is much more formidable against the run. 2. Edge rushers Matayo Uyagalele and Tatum Tuioti were 2 of the biggest stars of the quarterfinals, combining for 3 sacks and 7 total pressures in a shutout win over Texas Tech. 3. Ole Miss. The Rebels are number 48 nationally in sacks, but their biggest weakness is against the run. Defensive line rankings: Indiana and Miami led. Miami Ruben Bain Jr., a 2025 All-American, has been unguardable in the CFP, tallying 4 sacks, 6.5 tackles for loss in 2 games. The Hurricanes rank 1st in FBS in sacks 46, and the entire front is more than capable of taking over against Ole Miss. Indiana. The Hoosiers are incredibly sound against the run, allowing just 73.7 yards per game. Defensive end Mikhail Kamara is one of the most productive remaining pass rushers, ranking 3rd among defenders from the 4 semifinalists in total pressures, 54 per Pro Football Focus. Secondary rankings, Ole Miss and Miami. 3. Miami. Keontae Scott's 72-yard interception return for a touchdown helped push Miami over Ohio State in the quarters. This season, Miami has 16 interceptions while allowing 12 touchdowns. 4. Ole Miss. Pete Golding's defense is the only one left standing that's allowed more passing touchdowns than interceptions. The team's best coverage defender might be edge Suntarine Perkins, who has allowed 12 receptions for 67 yards on 23 targets, with an interception and 4 pass breakups, according to PFF. Secondary rankings, Indiana's defensive stars. Indiana, Louis Moore is one of the top safeties in the nation, while cornerback D'Angelo Pons is perhaps the unit's best player. He's an athletic freak, Surratt recently told reporters. Indiana football wide receiver Elijah Surratt. He's an athletic freak. On cornerback D'Angelo Pons was named the defensive player of the game at the Rose Bowl after allowing just 3 receptions and forcing a fumble in the win. Oregon leads, secondary rankings. Oregon, toward Jaden Kennedy and Brandon Finney Jr., are lockdown corners in the slot and perimeter respectively, with each allowing completions on fewer than half of their targets. AIT PFF. Among the remaining teams, Oregon has allowed the fewest pass yards per game, 156.6. Storyline rankings, Oregon and Miami. 3. Miami wins as number 10 seed, Ross. The Hurricanes barely made the field as the final at-large team, and while the lone remaining team with a national championship isn't exactly a Cinderella story, a title run would validate the expanded 12-team field's existence. Miami could also become the sport's first 2-loss national champion since LSU, 2007. 4. Oregon wins first national title. The Ducks have been painfully close to being the last team standing twice before this century, first losing on a last-second field goal to Auburn in the 2011 BCS title game, then falling to Ohio State in the inaugural CFP final. Top storylines, Ole Miss and Indiana. Indiana reaches the summit. Indiana is arguably the most unlikely juggernaut in college football history, and sticking the landing by winning the university's first football championship would be as remarkable a moment as the sport has ever produced.